truth live from where they create. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness stands tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey everybody. Let me go ahead and change my setting. Let me change it to this. I was trying to get all the pictures over to my computer so you guys can see what pictures they actually showed in court. Okay. All right. Hi everyone. I am here to do a recap of what happened in court today. My apologies for getting so emotional earlier, but what I heard in the courthouse kind of had me triggered. It had me triggered because I just didn't understand how cruel. Love you so big, Sylvia. Thank you, Venus. Love you too. Love you too, Venus. I got triggered because I couldn't understand how a parent could be so cruel to their children, and it took me off guard because I know it happened, y'all. I know because as a foster parent, I was faced with a lot of different things, and yes, I got emotional each time because I'm human, y'all. I'm human, and I'm very sensitive to things like that. I had been abused as a child, but not, I've never been SA by a parent or anything like that. So the abuse came from like whoopings and things like that. You get what I'm saying? But some of the stuff, it wasn't like torture like these kids. I got beaten, right? But it wasn't torture where somebody's trying to degrade me mentally and physically in a point where I feel like nothing, and this is what the children what they experience was super, super degrading, for a parent to take the child and let the child stand on a center block and defecate on themselves and urinate on themselves and things like that and didn't care. And then the child was so scared to let them know that they did that they hurry up and try to wipe it and hide the feces. That's the kind of stuff that these young children went through, and he could remember from an age of 4, age of 3, of certain things that has happened to him. And it is sad that they had to go through this. But I want to go ahead on and start what happened. When I got in, everybody was in the hallway. No one was in yet. And then when I came in, they call on the firefighter. He's an EMS firefighter. His name was Nicholas Alexander Dean. He came in and he sat down, and they swore him in, and they started asking him questions in regarding to his rank, how long he has been a firefighter. He mentioned 9 years he's been a firefighter. And then they asked him to describe the scene when he got to the home when the house was on fire. He told them that he's the unit that if something happened to a firefighter during the time of them putting the fire out, they're the one who goes in and get the firefighter from harm and from from the situation. So they're not the first one on the scene. They were the third and last group of firefighters to come on the scene. And he described the home. They asked him what part of the home was engulfed. Was the home engulfed in fire all the way? Did the whole home burn? He told them no. It was mostly the front side of the home that was burning up, where the porch was and the upstairs and the attic, on the front side. But he said the back side of the house was not on fire, but it did have smoke. The whole house had smoke. And so he talked about how when he entered the home, he was told there was 2 individuals missing, and the 2 individuals were the little girl that passed away and Nathan, the brother, the oldest brother, and they were looking for them. And so he was hoping that the little girl got out. But when he went in from the living room, the front, was it the back? Well, he went in through the door that was not as much fire, right? He went in, and they went into the living room area checking. They went into the office checking, and then he went on to the bedroom. He said the child's bedroom, they asked him, was the door locked? He said he didn't know because he was not the one who actually, opened the doors or anything. He got there, everything was already almost done. But when they went into the bathroom area where the little girl's room was, they saw her on the floor. She was in a fetal position, and they showed her, she was burnt, y'all. She was burnt up, and they showed her little body by the doorway. And what they did, they put a blanket over her because they said out of respect for her, they, didn't want them to touch or mess with her. So they put a blanket over her body. And so he saw that she was deceased. They asked, did you check any vitals? They said, yeah, they checked her vitals, and she was gone. She was already dead by the time they got there. And he said how small she was. She was in the bathroom when this happened. So he didn't know whether or not the door was locked or not because he wasn't there. He was the last one who entered. They asked him about how much fire was still in the house. He said most of the fire was out, and they asked him how long did it take for the fire to get out. He said between 20 and 25 minutes. But there were still some hot spots in the house, but as far as the fire, putting the fire out where the flames were still going, they did that within 20 to 25 minutes. They asked him about different rooms and things like that. Where did he entered in? And he told them about how they went from room to check to see if anybody was in the room. And then at the end, they asked him, did he meet the father? He said no. And so he looked over at him. You could see he was staring at him. The firefighter just like gazed at him like really hard. And then, that was it with his testimony. His testimony didn't last that long. They asked him a few questions, and then he got off the stand, and they excused him and stuff like that. And then they took a few minutes breaks, and then they asked Nate to come to the stand. He was already sitting on my right hand side, on the behind the prosecution table. He got up, and when he got up, one of the jurors, as soon as she saw him, she grabbed a tissue and started wiping her eyes. The juror, she started wiping her eyes. I knew by then everyone was going to get emotional. I kept my composure while I was in there. When I got in the car, that's when I broke down. But I was watching the faces of the people. When Nate got up there, you can tell Nate has some sort of disability, because his hands, he rocks back and forth, which is evidence of abuse. Wow. Yeah, Tammy's in the chat. Tammy knows a lot about what's going on. So those who are in here knew Tammy was married to William. So she has a lot of background information on this case. So shout out to Tammy. But when he got on the stand, I told you one juror grabbed a tissue and she started wiping her eyes. I commend Nate, because he was very strong. He didn't cry up there or nothing. He was very, very detailed. He was paused, and he told his truth. He told his experience. He told exactly what he went through. He was very, 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 very detailed, y'all. Very detailed. And I was very proud of him. At break time, I'm going to tell you what he said. But at break time, whoever, I think his caretaker, and it was two of them that was there, and his sister was there. They all hugged him when he got down from the stand for the break time. They all hugged him, and they were proud of him, But as I was saying, you can tell he has some sort of disability. I wanted to ask Tammy, was he born that way, or was the abuse that he received, like his father banging his head on the porcelain, or the head injuries that he suffered from his father? Oh, okay. It was all abuse. Okay. Thank you, Tammy. Because I think his right hand was shaking too. His right hand, he was a normal child. Okay. His right hand was shaking. Looks like you could tell he has had nerve damage some kind of way, because the way he is, you could tell, and he wears like very thick glasses. He has had several head injuries, based on what is being told. His father used to hit him upside the head all the time. Okay, so when he got up there, they asked him how old he was, and he told them he was 19. And they asked him, oh, I forgot to tell you. Oh, hold on, I got back up. I got back up for a minute. When they asked the firefighter what did he see when he went into the room where little Zoe was, he said that he saw her laying behind the door in a fetal position, but he also said when he touched her skin felt like leather. That's what he said. Her skin felt like leather. And they showed her body. She had on a pair of green shorts. You could tell her leg was like bent back, and the way it was horrible. It was horrible. And her body was burnt. Her face part was burnt. And you could see her legs and stuff. It was not a pleasant scene at all. And then you see in the blanket that was covering her, like over her face part. Um, okay. And they said that the 911 call came in at 4:55 in the morning, and that's when they dispatch the 911 call to both the firefighter as well as the police department. And so he did say he wrote in his report. They asked him, did he write a report? He says, yeah, he wrote a report of what he's seen. And then they asked him, was he an arson investigator? They didn't know how the fire started. He says, no, that's not part of his job. His job is basically to help the firefighters that are there, to help if one of them collapse or something like that, right? And then the defense was asking him about his equipment, the mask and stuff like that was on his face, and they asked him, is it possible for a person to be injured with that mask? And he said, likelihood is possible, but the likelihood of it happening, no. Most of the time, it's some sort of medical emergency that happened with the person, like they might have a heart attack or a stroke. It depends on the person's health and things like that. So I just wanted to bring that back up to you guys. So I did tell you about that. Okay. So when Nate came up there, he came to the stand. He had thick glasses, and he looked like he's about 5'8", if I'm not mistaken. He looked like he's about 5'8" or 5'9". He looks a little taller than me, but not much taller than me. Then they asked him how old he was. He said he was 19. He said, they asked him, where does he live right now? He said he lives in a group home, and he's been in that group home for 2 years. And he says, they asked him when was his birthday. He gave them his birthday. And then they asked him how many brothers and sisters he had. He gave the names of his brothers and sisters. And then they asked who's the oldest, and he said Amber was the oldest. The only three names I'm using, I'm going to use Amber. Well, I'm not live streaming, so I can use the name. Okay, I'm just giving you first name. He said Amber was 21. He said Cody was 12 and Sean was 16. And then they asked about his little sister, the one that passed away, which is Zoe. Zoe is deceased. He says that. Then the prosecutor asked him, how did the fire start? He basically said he started the fire, right? And I told you the jurors started getting emotional. Some of the jurors started getting very emotional. You could see it in their face. That's the reason why you asked me, how do I know they were getting emotional? Their facial expression. And then there was one that kept looking down. And I've told you the one that had the tissue. She was wiping her face. And one was shaking their head. You could tell. And then the people in the courtroom, emotional. You should see their faces. Everybody's face was not a face of like, everybody was very somber. You could see sadness in a lot of people's face, and some folks were shaking their head. So they asked him, where did he live? Where was he raised? He said he was raised in Logan'sville. I couldn't see William's face, Tammy. I couldn't see, because I was sitting behind William, so I didn't see his face at all. I didn't see his attorney's face or him, because I'm sitting right behind on the defense side, because the prosecution side was pretty full. So when I came in, I sat on the defense side, which is empty. It was only one officer over there, and then a young lady sat behind me. So that's the only side I can take at the time, because it was more empty. So I didn't see William's face at all. But I was looking at his body language. He has on the same clothes that he had on yesterday, which was like a like a square, like square stripe, not stripe, square shirt that had like lines and like squares on it, and it's like a beige, but it has all different colors, and he had on a pair of dark pants. I don't know if it's dark blue. It's not. I don't think it's black. It's like dark blue. That's the color pants he had on. Um, um, Nate said that he lived in Loganville for most of his life, and they asked him, how did it feel living in the house? He has button down collar. They asked him, how did he feel living in the house? He said that his house felt like prison. And he said, prison with no guardrail. As most of the time, he was locked up in his room. And they asked, who locked you up in your room? And he said his mom and his dad. And he felt that he was in prison. Then he asked him about, after he set the fire off, where did he go? He said he went to RYDC, which is the Juvenile Detention Center, right? And he was there for 6 months. And the prosecutor asked him, did he like living there or his home? He said he liked living at the RYDC, and he says, why do you like it better? He says he was able to talk to other people, and he was able to make friends, and he was able to eat. He was able to have meals, and he said he was able to have 3 meals. And he said he would stay there. He liked being in that RYDC much better than his home. They asked him, did his parents work? And he said, yeah. They asked, where did the parents work? He said, Waffle House. And he said, they asked him who worked the most, his mom or his dad. He said his mom worked more than his dad. He said, so who was doing more of the taking care of you guys? And he says, the dad. The dad was doing more of the child care than the mom. Then they asked him, did they go out anywhere? He said, no, they rarely went out. And if they went out, where would they go to? He said church and Walmart. Those are the only places he would go. They asked him, did you ever go to the movies? He said, no. They asked him, did he ever go to the mall? They said, no. They asked him, did he go to school? He said, no. And she says, how did you learn how to read? And he said he taught himself to read. He says mother would buy him books, and she was just telling him, read the instruction and do what the book said. And so the prosecutor asked him, did he know math? He said no, he didn't know how to math. She says, did you know how to do algebra? He said no, he didn't know how to do algebra. Basically, it was asking, how do you know how old you were when, how did you calculate your age? How did you know what grade a person is and stuff like that? He said he didn't know. But they would tell him, I guess when his birthday was, they would tell him how old he was. Did he go to regular school? He said, no, absolutely not. And he says, they asked him, did you go to school after the fire? He said, yes. He said, what was the school schedule? What was your school schedule like? He said he would go to school at 6 a.m. He would get out at 2 p.m. And so he says, did you like going to school? He says, yeah, he liked going to school. But when he was with his parents, he never went to school, never, ever went to school. Okay, so they started asking him about abuse. Because he said he was abused. So they asked, how did you know you was abused? He says, because the way he felt. And he says, what reason would you get abused? Would you get on punishment? He said, when he was not still. He said, they asked him, when you were not still, what do you mean? Right? He says, she asked him, when were you supposed to be still? He says he's supposed to be still when he was in bed and when he was in the corner. So like when they would tell them to go to bed, they could not move. They could not talk to each other because him and Amber were sharing rooms at one point. And if they were in the bed, they were told not to talk to each other at all. So he couldn't talk to Amber. And so he got in trouble because he talked to Amber when they were in the room. So I said, okay, he says, what would happen when you talk or did something and you were punished? What was some of the punishment you received? He said that he had to go in the corner and he had to stand on, he started standing on a stool, a step stool. He had to balance on a step stool. And they asked him how old was he when he had to balance on the step stool. He said he was 4 years old. And he graduated into having to get on the center block. No, not the center block didn't start yet. When he had to go on a crate. On the crate, this is the kind of crate that he had to use. Hold on a second, let me show you guys. I took the pictures of the stuff that they were showing. Okay, they asked him. So first he was on step stool. Then he graduated he had to get on the crate. He had to balance himself on the crate, and they would put like a board or something on the crate, and he had to stand on the crate, and they asked him how long they had to do that. He says for hours, right? So then he graduated to having to get on. He went from stool to the crate, and then when he got a little older, he had to get on the center block, and these are the center block that he had to get on. These are the center block. And they asked him, how did he have to get on center block? The center block would be standing straight up and down. And then he had to stand on the center block barefooted. He had to stand on center block barefooted with no shoes on. And he had to stay there for hours. And there was time he had to go to the bathroom. He couldn't go to the bathroom unless he was given permission to go to the bathroom. And they said to them, before Zoe was born and Cody was born, he would have to do the timeout in a corner. So he demonstrated to them how the center block was facing the corner of the room, and it was about 2 feet away, and he would stand on there. He said sometimes his feet would get numb. He would get numb and would get tired. But you see the grooves in the center block. He had to stand on the edge, and he had to he couldn't move. He had to stand there and bounce. They asked him how long he had to do. He said sometimes it was days, sometimes it was weeks that they had to do that. And if they had to go to the bathroom, they couldn't. They would have to give him permission to go to the bathroom. That's how long they would stand on the center block. So if he got off the center block, and they would paddle him with a paddle or a belt. Then he graduated to a pole. He had 2 types of pole. He had a big pole, he said, and then he had a small pole. It was a big one and a small one. They would beat him with it. So they would take off his clothes naked and then he would lay on his belly, butt naked, lay on his belly and his hands on the side, and they would beat him. They asked him, where did they beat him? He said his back, his butt, and the back of his legs. That's where they would beat him. So and the other time they would get in trouble for stealing food. And so she asked, who told you you were stealing food? He said, my mom and dad. He says, she asked him, why were you stealing food? He says, because the other food wasn't enough. And he says, what kind of food did you get? They only gave him peanut butter and jelly sandwich or oatmeal. That's all they gave him. They didn't give him any other food. But they had food in the house. He just was not allowed to eat the other food. They were only allowed so that he would sneak and get the food. And he said there was cameras all over the house. So they would be watching them through the camera. So he said there was cameras in every room, even the office where he would get like the harsh punishment of being on the cinder block. They would see him. If he moved, they would see him in the camera. So, and they asked him where would he get the food from. He said he would go in the refrigerator, get the food, or he would get the food from the cabinet. And they asked how long, so how much food would you get? He said he would get enough food for a couple of days to save it for a couple of days. And if he got caught, they would beat him for stealing food. He did say that by the age of 5, he graduated from the standing on the step stool, to standing on the crate, and then graduated to the cinder block. Okay. And they asked him, when was the only time you weren't hungry? He said around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is when they really fed him. Other than that, he only ate the peanut butter and jelly sandwich or the oatmeal. And they asked him, did he have snack? They said no. Was it a limited amount of food that you had? He said, yeah, that's all they would give him. And he was hungry. He still felt hungry. He said, did your parents give you anything in between? He said no. And he says it was sometime, they asked him, how long would you stay on the cinder block? He says for hours, and sometime he did overnight, and then it became weeks of him being on the cinder block. He said his feet would go to sleep. He said his feet would go to sleep. Who's representing him? I forgot his lawyer's name. I'm sorry. I forgot his lawyer's name. But it's an older man who's representing him. Hold on. I can get you the name. Hold on a second. Let me get you the lawyer's name. Hold on. I gotta get the piece that Tammy sent me. Tammy sent me the paperwork. Hold on a second. Hold on, Tammy. Tammy sent me the paperwork. Let's see. Don't forget, y'all, when we get ready to go do the deep dive in the paperwork, we're going to do it at members only. Because it's a lot of information and we don't want to, hold on a second. Hold on, Tammy. Tammy sent me the transcript of it. His attorney is Mr. Clegg, Clegg, Thomas Scott Clegg. That's his attorney, Thomas Scott Clegg. Yes, he's an appointed attorney. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Tammy. I did not know you put it in there. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, he's an appointed attorney. He seems like a very good attorney. He's pretty old. He's hard of hearing. He can't hear, so you have to talk really loud for him to hear, and he can't really see too well. But anyway, but he said his feet would go to sleep. And then he had to have his hand when he was on the center block, y'all. He had to have his hand over his head like this. His hand had to be over his head on a center block. Had to keep it just like that. Yeah, he has to have hearing. He has his hearing aid. He still can't hear. Tonight he still can't hear. I told y'all about the pipe. He was getting beat by the first. It started with a paddle. Then he started getting beat with the pipe, belt, a big pipe and a small pipe. He started getting beat. Okay. Now this is the thing that really got to me, y'all. Let me show you what they put on the boy's body. It's a shock collar, y'all. A shock collar. This is what they put on a child's neck. I mean, they shocked them when a dog shock collar they put on him. Hold on a second. They asked him where did they put it on. They said they would put it on his body. Hold on a second. I was trying to show it to you guys. Trying to make it bigger. But this is what they put on him. They will put this on him. Hold on a second, let me show y'all. They will put this thing on him. The two prongs. Y'all see that? They will put those shock collar on the children. They put it on him and they did it to I think it was Cody. And they said it would be open. The shock collar would be open and they would shock him on it. They would shock him multiple times and they did it to him for about a month. They asked him how many times did the shock came, and they asked him how did it feel. He said it felt like when you stick a fork inside of a socket. They did it to Amber too? Okay. The older children, I know they did it to them, not the younger one. So he said they did it to him for about a month, and it was 20 times, and they kept sticking him with it, right? And they asked him who did it. He says his dad. And they said, why did he do it? He says because when his chore was to pull weed, and what he did, instead of pulling weed, he was looking through the window of the office, and he caught him. And when he caught him, he went out there and started shocking him with the dog shocker. And then the other time he did get Cody. The other time he got him is when he fell asleep in Cody's room, because they told him they would have to be the one to tell him when to go to bed. And he was very sleepy and he had fell asleep before they told him to go to sleep. And so they came in and they shocked him for that reason as well. So that's when they shocked Cody for the first time. He had to stand on the center block for that, getting in trouble. And he says they had camera in every room of the house, in the office, in every single room in the house. They they had cameras, and his dad had caught him. Then he had to the dad put a box over his head. You know, one of those box, like the store box, put it over his head. I mean, they treated those kids terrible. And they asked when did he put the box over his head? He said he was at the age of 4. In the bathroom? She said including the bathroom. Yeah, Amber is one of the kids. She's the oldest. Amber's the oldest. She was in court too. Amber's the oldest. Then came Nathan, and then Sean, then Zoe, and then Cody. Cody's the youngest. Cody's 12 years old. They said the first time they shot Cody with the shocker is when Cody was 3 years old. They shocked the baby with the shocker, with that dog shot, collar shock. And they said he was screaming and he was yelling. He was trying to get away. Cody was trying to get away, but he couldn't get away. The reason why they shocked him with the shocker because he got out of his crib. Cody had gotten out of the crib, and that's why they shocked him. And they asked him, did he see his siblings get beat? He said, yeah. He says, how did you see him? He said he would be walking by, and he would see them in their room getting beat. And he said, they asked her, did everybody have to get naked when they got beat? He said, yes. Ruby, all the kids made it out the house except one. That was Zoe. She was locked up in the bathroom. And remember, the bathroom didn't have any windows or anything. So that was her makeshift bedroom, was the bathroom. So she got stuck behind the door. They showed pictures of her behind the door in a fetal position with a blanket covered over her. And the prosecutor asked him, how did he know the door was locked? He says, when they told him to lock the door. And when he didn't lock the door, say if he didn't lock the door, they'll come by and see the door not locked, and they would lock the door themselves, the parent. He asked who did this. He says his mom and his dad. He asked who did most of the beating. His father did. And then he said he was not allowed to look at his father in the face. He had to look down. He couldn't look at his father in his face. And each time he got on the center block, he had to be barefooted and naked. And I told you how they beat him, right? He had to have his belly on the floor, his hand to the side, and they would beat him on his back, his butt, and his back of his leg. Did he see his siblings get beat naked? He said yes. And they asked him, how did it make you feel when being naked and having to get beat? He said he felt very uncomfortable. Then the lady said, ask him, did you hear any noise, moaning or groaning noise? He said yes. He said, did you know what the noise was? He says he didn't know at the time because he was too young. He didn't know. But now that he has had sex education, he realized that it was a sex act going on. And they asked him, who was it going on with? He says Amber and his dad. And he said, how did you know? He says every time the mother would leave, Amber was always with the dad. And he would hear noise, sexual noise coming out from the other room. Because remember, whenever Amber and them got in trouble, they were butt naked anyway. So He talked about being whacked in the head. Okay, they showed a picture of him having a scar over his eye, like right over here. And they asked him how did he get that scar. He got it from his dad. His dad beat him with this, and it broke on him. Hold on a second, let me show you this. His dad beat him with a broom, a hand broom, and he hit him so hard that it broke in half, and the plastic got stuck in his over his eyes and his eye, and it was bleeding. It was bleeding a lot. All the kids make it out. Okay, I read that already. So this is what he beat him. He said it was square, and it broke when he hit him with it. It broke. That's how hard he hit him with the broom thing. I told you guys about the moaning and groaning that he heard coming from the room. He didn't know what it was, but now he learned what it is. He asked him, was he ever been touched in his private part? That he said no, they never touched him. Then he asked who went to school. He says Sean. Sean went to 2 different schools. Because remember the other day when I was telling you guys that there was a defects report done from the teacher that was done with Sean, remember? Well, that was the time. Well, he said Sean is the only one that went to school, and they took him out of school. I guess after the defects report, they took Sean out of school, and they kept him home. They asked him how about him using the bathroom. He said they had to use the bathroom in the bucket, and the reason why they had to use the bucket because they couldn't. They weren't allowed. They weren't allowed to use the bathroom. They wasn't allowed to flush the bathroom. So because they kept defecating and urinating and putting toilet tissue in the toilet, it became clogged up, and they couldn't unclog it. So they had to use plungers for the feces to go down. And so eventually they stopped them from using the bathroom and had them to only do it in buckets. So, and they asked him who would throw out the bucket. He says the older kids would have to throw out the bucket when they peed and do the. They asked him where did they throw it out. He said they would go and put it in the backyard, or they would put it inside in the woods area and around the fence, the property fence. And there was a fence, a white fence, and it was like 6 feet high. They couldn't get out the back. He asked him, did he know whether or not he had neighbors? He said, yeah, he knew he had neighbors. Was he allowed to go visit the neighbors and things like that? No, he was not allowed to go outside at all. And they asked who was allowed to use the bathroom. He said his dad was the only one that used the main bathroom. So these kids went through a lot, and I'm assuming Amber is going to get on the stand tomorrow to tell her story of what happened to her. So I will be there for that. I had to leave because it was too emotional for me because some of the stuff that he was saying, it was really bad. It was really bad. I mean, how do you put a shock collar on a child, even on a dog? It is not live. No, it's not live. Ruby, they were putting it live before, but the judge doesn't want the name along with the live streaming of the kids on there. So they decide to no longer live stream. The Law and Crime decided not to do the live streaming because it wasn't feasible. It would have been too much work for them to do a lot of editing. So that is what happened. Anybody got any question? Tammy can answer a lot of questions that's on here. Did I do the... Oh, I forgot, Tammy. Oh my God, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. Tag on it. I'm gonna put it in. I forgot. I remember I said I was gonna do it when I got home, but I haven't done it yet. But tonight when I get home, late tonight, I'll get it up. I'll do it. I have to mail it in and then see. But then I have to put it in for next week because I can't put it in for tomorrow because it's too much of late. No, I could do it for Friday. Let me put it in so I can do stuff. Yeah, I could put it in for Friday. As long you just gotta give them 24 hours to do it. So I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in right now, Tam. Put it in right now. But that's it, basically, y'all. That's it. Tomorrow. So I'm gonna find out from the lady that worked there. She gave me her card. I'm gonna text her and call her and see if who went up and how many people. Because I can't talk to defense and I can't talk to prosecutors anymore since the trial started. That's what they told me. They can't talk to me until after the trial, so I can't ask them any questions about anything. So. I'll ask about the Rule 22 voice recording and see what they say. I'll put in for it. But anybody have any question? This is a very, very hard case, y'all. It's a very hard case. Really hard. So I'm about to go because I got to do that Rule 22 since Tammy reminded me. And what we're going to do tomorrow I'll be there the whole day. I will sit there to listen to the testimony. Now that I know what to expect, I'll be there. Absolutely, Ruby. This should be really this should be one of those stories that the whole wide world should know about, Definitely. And it's horrible how these children went through that. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't understand why they're not, I don't know. And I know it's for the protection of the children. He told me once, gotta look good for the cameras. What? He said that? Wow. It's a lot. It's a very triggering situation. And I know Amber's stuff is going to be worse. I know Amber's going to be worse because Amber was SA. And Zoe was SA. And she was only 10. She was only 10 before she died. 10. So you can imagine that man is sick. Sick. And can't nobody say this didn't happen to these kids because this boy got injuries to show it. You understand what I'm saying? He made Amber abuse the siblings. Lord have mercy. It was their birthday gift? Wow. So guys, members, we will do a deep dive tomorrow evening with the paperwork that Tammy has given to me. We're going to go over those paperwork behind he had them to essay them. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you for the heads up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Maybe that's why he didn't want to say anything about Amber. Because they asked him about whether or not anybody touched his private part. The birthday gift was SA. Dang. Okay, y'all. Well, tomorrow I'll be there and I'll be hearing the craziness. Oh, only William did the essay? Okay. Okay. Woo! I was hoping that he didn't have Amber to do that. Lord have mercy. Okay, thank you for clarifying. But okay, y'all, I'm about to get off this live, go eat my lunch, and then go to work. I have to go to work. I know I don't have to go till 6, but I want to take a nap because I'm tired. And this stuff is draining, mentally draining. It really gets to you. But Tammy, thank you so much. When you first told us about the story and didn't mention essay, I was like, thank God they weren't essay. I should have known better with this evil people. I didn't know it either. The first went to Miss Torres. When I first look at the first indictment, the indictment didn't have essay in it. Oh well, I gotta go now. I'll see you guys later. Gotta go. Later. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment